Hello everyone. So we are on the second topic for our third quarter, which is electricity. For today or for this session, we are going to talk about electric flux and the Gauss law. Okay, so first we have to look at this car. Okay, so sa katong nasa akong discussion, you know what this is. Okay, so this car or this vehicle is connected, na siya naka-connect na pole, and with that pole na siya duha ka magnet, and we know that magnet acts like charges where the like poles will repel and the opposite poles will attract, ba? So using that concept of magnetic force and magnetic interaction, we have here this vehicle that uses that kind of interaction. No? So, if butangan daw natog magnet ni ato ang car, vehicle, and use nato ang magnetic interaction, will this car move? Ito siya. Okay? Actually, this here is impossible. Yan impossible man siya, ma'am. Because, di ba, ang mga magnets kay mo move man gid siya or mo attract man gid siya. So, if we have this other magnet here, kani siya, naa siya yung magnet, and then ay isa, dapat mapull na niyang, kani siyang isa ka magnet diri, kani siya, mapull ni niya ning isa ka magnet. So, yes, actually, yes. It can do that. Pwede niya mapull towards it, ang kana siya nga magnet. But the thing is, that magnet, kani siya nga magnet, is also connected to the car. And this magnet is connected directly to the car. So, basically, they are one body. Isa sila og body. And with the laws of forces, no, you cannot exert a net force on yourself. Di ka maka-exert og net force sa imong self. Di man mo ma-push ang imong self. You cannot pull yourself. Okay? But you can move. But that's not pulling. That's not pushing. Okay? So, same with the principles of electric fields and the electric charges. No? So, the thing here is, you cannot exert on a net force on yourself. Di ka maka-exert og net force sa imong kaugalingon. And same with charges. Charges have electric fields. An electric field is where the charges feel, or it is where they feel the electric force. So it means, diba, in our Coulomb's discussion, there will be no force of or electric force, walay Fe, if isara ang charge na present. There can be electric field. Electric field is the region or space where your charge can feel the electric force. So we have a positive, which is outward ang iyahang force, and or iyang field, I mean, direction sa iyang field, and we have a negative that is inward ang iyahang field. But kunwari, kung siya ra ang nag-exist, there will be no force. Because the charge itself cannot exert net force onto itself. Something like that. Okay? So, dili siya makahatag og net force iyang kaugalingon. That is why there is no Fe if positive ra ang present or negative ra ang present. Siya ra isa. No. But, there will be Fe or electrical force if duha nakabuok ang imuhang charge. That is why in our Coulomb's law, we have at least two, or we have two. We will observe two charges sa Coulomb's law. So Q1 ug si Q2. Sila ra. Okay, duha ra kabuok. Dili pwede isa. That is because you cannot exert force onto yourself or net force onto yourself. Okay? So, kana siyang electric field. Oh, sorry. Kana siyang electric field. ang charge, depende sa iyang charge, gina-distort niya or gina-modify niya ang properties sa space niya. Okay? So that is why if na presence another, if there's another presence of a charge, it will have this, what we call force, either repulsive or attractive. Depende sa ilahang charge. Okay? So that is why the emphasis there is there will be no electric force if there is no interaction. No? There is no interaction between two or more charges. Pag isa rin isa, wala electric force. Okay? So, mo na siyang general principle that a body cannot exert a net force onto itself. Okay? So, electric force of a charged body is exerted by the electric field that is created by another charge. So, ang force na na-feel ni plus Q or ni positive Q is from the electric field of negative Q and vice versa. Change. Okay. Now, this is the electric field of a point charge. So we have a source point. Source point is where your charge is. Asa gid siya dapit. That is the source point. Now, that is your location of the charge. So we have here, this is our S. Okay. Now we also have the field point. The field point is where we determine the field. Asa dapit ang iyahang field. Okay. Okay. So then we also have vector R. Let me look at there. Okay, so vector R that points along the 2 points. So si vector R, natay electric field, mo na yung electric field. Okay, so si letter R, siya ang mo point gikan sa S o kay P. Now, since this is a positive charge, positive man siya, and positive has an outward direction. That is why R is from S to P. But if it is negative, that will be pasulod. Okay? Yan na siya. Okay? So, now your point P is your field point. Kunwari, asa man dapit, actually anywhere na siya sa field. It is anywhere beyond the field na siya sa field sa imuhang electric charge. And depende siya kung asa niyo siya i-place si point P. Okay? So, basta kay, siya kay bali mo hang reference. Okay? Na, kung diri ang nga point, usa man ang ato ang ma-feel na electric field or something like that. Okay? Depende sa usa atong gina-observe. Now we have the electric flux. So, electric flux is the total number of lines penetrating the surface that is proportional to the product of the electric field and the surface area, or the EA. E, which is the electric field lines. A is the surface area. Okay, so this product of the magnitude of the electric field, E, and the surface area, A, is what we call the electric flux. Okay, finish up. So, look at the word, emphasis on the word that penetrating. Okay? So, ningon siya dire na need siya mo penetrate sa imuhang surface before siya matawag na electric flux. Okay? Therefore, kay mag-penetrate man siya, your E and your surface should be, your E and your surface should be 90 degrees. Now, separate si surface, separate si vector A. Okay? So, vector A is actually normal to your surface. This is the surface. Ito siya. So, if this is your surface, your electric field should be perpendicular to your surface. No, para ang number or dako ang iyahang electric flux, or more than ang iyahang electric flux. Okay? So, the more na mo mo tagilid siguro ang surface, the more nagamay ra ang iyahang electric flux, kay ganmay na lang man ang mo penetrate or makapenetrate na number of lines or electric field lines sa iyaha. Okay, so remember that there are three: the surface, the electric field, and the vector A, where the vector A is actually, if this is your surface, vector A is perpendicular to your surface. This is your surface, and that is A. A is always perpendicular to your surface. It forms 90 degrees, and that is why we also call A its normal vector. No? So A is also called as normal vector. So you remember the normal force in our second law of motion. Normal force is actually, if nakay surface, di ba, siya? If nakay surface, there will also be normal force. So same siya diri as A. So A is like a normal vector that is perpendicular to your surface if you have surface. Okay, so that is normal vector. Okay, that is also called as normal vector. Now, the logic here is, lahion ni mo si S ug si A. So, if moingon sila na electric field is parallel to the surface. This line here is your surface. Ako na lang siyang ilahi para makita niyo. This blue line is your surface. Let's say that is your surface. The red one is your A, or your vector A, or normal vector. Your surface area. Okay? So your surface is the blue one, and your A is the one that is perpendicular to it. Pero, pag mingon gali sila na, the electric field lines is parallel, or the electric field is parallel to the surface. It will be something like this. Parallel sila duha, si surface o si electric field. And when that happens, wala kay electric flux. Nganong wala man, ma'am? Because at first, in the first place, for you to have an electric flux, you need to penetrate the surface. And in here, your electric field did not penetrate your surface. Therefore, walay electric flux. Okay? So, nga na siya. But if moingon siya that the electric field is perpendicular to the surface. So, perpendicular, ana siya. So, when that happens, your S and E forms 90 degrees. Therefore, nag-penetrates the electric field kay surface. So, it means na siya electric flux. So, that is between E and S, or electric field and surface. Now, how about electric field and A, or normal vector? Now, if moingon siya na electric field is parallel to the A, or to the normal vector or normal. Parallel means pareho sila direction. Or nag-straight line sila. So when that happens, your E and A are parallel with each other, therefore, na kay electric flux. Ngano naa kay electric flux, ma'am? Because your E penetrated the surface. So, E and A are parallel, so it means it has electric flux. But what if moingon sila na ang E and A, the electric field is perpendicular to the normal, or perpendicular to the A, or the normal vector? Perpendicular means it has 90 degrees, or it forms 90 degrees. So, paging ana, as you can see here, wala nagpenetrate. Perpendicular si A ug si E, pero si E wala naka-penetrate sa S, making the electric flux 0. Kaya wala man siya ni-penetrate. As you can see here, wala siya ni-penetrate. Okay? So, do not confuse surface with the normal vector or the surface area A. Okay? So, lahi na siya. Okay? So, then, yeah, it was here. Okay, so if na ay angle between them, or na ay, if your S or your surface is slightly, angled, siya, then we will use this. Okay, so flux, or the electric flux, we have the phi, that is phi, I think. Yeah, that is phi. The phi is equal to EA cosine theta, where theta is the angle between A and E. Dili si S ug E. Remember that. No, so ang cosine theta there, ang theta na iyang gipasabot, or ang angle na iyang pasabot is the angle between sa imuhang electric field ug sa imuhang A, or normal vector. Okay? So here, as you can see here, this is your image. This is your image, no? So your surface is slightly angled, no? Medyo slanted siya. Therefore, musunod to ang iyang A. So medyo naapoy angle si A, because A is always perpendicular or 90 degrees with your surface. Permi na sila uban. Okay? Now, your E is just straight line. So therefore, naay angle between A. So you can see here, na siya angle between A to E. And that angle there is what you will put here in the cosine theta. Mo na siya imong theta. So cosine theta, or the theta there, is the angle between your electric field and your surface area, or your A. So therefore, the electric flux through open surfaces, because these are open surfaces. What do you mean by open surface? Open surface means wala siya sulod. Wala siya inside. So it is a kind of open surface. Okay? So open surfaces, just like a sheet of paper, or like a 2D na shape, that. So kani siya, so you can see here, the surface, kung na siya ng blue, kaana siya, the surface is perpendicular to the E. Therefore, A and E are parallel, making their angle between them 0. So in here, ano siya? This is your surface. Okay, so this is your surface. That is your surface. Ano siya? Now your electric field is passing through this one. Ako na lang siya i-extend para sa other example. Okay, so your S is perpendicular to your E. That is your E, electric field lines. Therefore, since your S is always 90 degrees with your A, that is your A, parallel si A ug si E. Pag parallel na sila, ang ilahang angle between them is 0. Now, cosine 0 is 1. Okay? So, if we are to solve that using this, ganun siyang equation, so that will be phi is equal to, phi is equal to E cosine 0. Where cosine 0 means 1. Therefore, you can get the full or the highest electric flux if parallel CE ug CA. Highest possible electric flux for that surface and that electric field. But if medyo slanted siya, so it will depend on your, it will depend on your theta. For example, okay, that is your surface. Therefore, your A is 90 degrees with that. Let's pretend that's straight. Okay. So funny. Okay, let's pretend that's straight. Okay, so therefore, it is making a slight or a small angle between the A and the E. So then, your theta will depend on that. Let's say, kani siya imong theta. Your theta is, let's say, 30 degrees. So, when solving for it, that will be EA cosine 30. Okay? So, the more na mudako ang angle between the two, ano ba? No, the more na mudako ang angle between the two, the more na mo lessen ang iyahang electric flux. So, that is why, pag mahimo na siyang 90 degrees ang ilahang theta, so that is cosine 90. Cosine 90 is 0. Therefore, if cosine 90 na siya, that is cosine 90, and that is 0. 0 multiplied by A and E, that is still 0. So many. What is this? Sorry. That will be 0. Therefore, pag 90 degrees na siya, wala na siya electric flux. And as you can see there in the figure, 0 man siya kay wala man nag-penetrate ang imuhang E sa imuhang S or sa imuhang surface. So it will be something like this. This is your S, and your A is perpendicular to your E. Therefore, it is 0. I hope that's clear. Inga na siya. So the more na modako ang imuhang theta, the 0 is the largest electric flux. The more na modako ang imong theta, the more na magkagamay ang imuhang electric flux until it reaches 90. And if it becomes 90, your flux is 0. So, pag mula pa sa pagkag 90, mahimo na siyang negative ang imuhang flux. Because after 0, of course, the negatives. Okay? Just like cosine 180. Ang cosine 180, it means baliktad ang imuhang, let's say, if this is your surface, ganun na siya. That is your surface. Your A is going this way. Kaya pa-outward ka, kasi ana. Dili kayo siya maklaro diri because this is an open surface. So, any orientation niya is okay ra. But here, but on closed surface, mas ma-explain siya tarong. But yeah, ingani siya. So, here, if we have A there, and your E is going this way, that is 180. Kaya baliktad mo na siya isa. Mana siya ka straight line. No? So, the angle between them is 180. Therefore, making your cosine 180 negative 1. So, pag negative ang imuhang cosine or imong theta, your flux also becomes negative. Okay, so we'll go now here in a non-uniform electric field, because not all the time that your electric field is uniform or your surface area is uniform. So na ay mga surfaces that have curved lines like this. It has curved lines. Therefore, ang iyahang A will be facing at different directions. So just like here. Sample here. Your A here is facing diriad na side. But kaning A ni mo diriad, because A is always perpendicular to your surface. So, therefore, kani siya nga surface will probably face around here. And kani siya is there. Kani diriad. And all of those points there, kada point ana niya, lahi-lahi sila. Point along the surface, lahi-lahi silang direction. Therefore, making your electric field or your surface non-uniform. No? So if ingana, actually this is just a concept. Now I'm just gonna introduce you to this kind of concept because we're going to talk about the closed surfaces. Katong ganina is open surface matok. Then the next nato na topic will be about closed surfaces. Now most of the closed surfaces, especially spheres, um, ovals, are kanang tawag na. Yeah, something ani oval ba na 3D. Okay, kana siya. So they are actually a non-uniform surface area. Dili tanan na area tanan nga area nila is nag-face o the same direction. Okay. So kana siya is you actually in math you find the summation of all the electric fields that they had and pagitaon nimo ang the derivative of A, which is lahi-lahi man ang point kada surface. So it means daghan siya nga A. So as you can see, you're na A dari ang a point, dari ang a point, vice versa. So that is why we use this one. No, so we use that integral. We use integral. Okay, but we'll not focus more on our tawag na to, solving, but more about the concept. Okay, so the concept there will help us um, have this or explain this better. So kanya siya, this is what we call the flux through a closed surface. So just like a non-uniform field ganina, kani sila is daghan or lahi-lahi ang direction silang A. Same here with our closed surface and the kani siyang mga square diri kani mga partition here or division here. Let's say that those are their surface area na nag-face somewhere or in that different direction. So, for instance, we will pick tulo ka buok na surface sa ato ang closed surface. Okay? So, a closed surface is defined as a surface that divides space into the inside. So, na siya sulod, tapos siya gawas na region. Okay? So, that one cannot move kung ganahan ka mo pass through or mo penetrate ani ng closed surface, dapat mo agigig ka sa iyang sulod before ka makagawas. Okay? So, one cannot move from one region to the other without crossing the surface. So, mo penetrate ka if you want. If nagay time na makapenetrate ka sa isa ka surface within that closed surface. Okay? So, electric flux inside a closed surface is what we call zero. Ganong zero man siya, ma'am. For instance, we picked 3 surfaces that will represent the whole thing. Okay, so first one, as the first one. Oh, this first one is here. It's facing there. So kung ato na siyang i-draw, this is surface 1. That is S1. And your A is always outward. Okay? Wait. Medyo nipis. Remember that in electric flux in a closed surface, your A is always facing outside sa imong closed surface. Dili siya pa inside, but outside. Your A is always outside. So, si S1, or surface 1, is pagawas ang iyang A. Now, coincidentally, the A, or the electric field also travels pagawas kay S1. So, you can see here, pagawas siya. Pahawa na kibali siya si 1. Okay? So, therefore, your E and A are parallel with each other. Diba? Pag parallel sila, that is cosine 0. And cosine 0 is positive 1. So, it means your flux is positive if KS1. Now, let's go to S2. So, S2 is here. Sa baba. So, if we are to draw that, S2 will be something like this. So S2. And you can see here that wala ni penetrate si E kay S2. Okay, because A is going here, but downward si A, kay, as you can see, the surface of 2 is facing downward. Pa-outward, so it's facing downward. So that is your A. Sorry if nag-overlap akong mga drawings. Okay, walay space. If that is S2, your A is going there, but your E is actually going to this side. Okay? So, paano siya? Your E is going there. Okay? So, di ba, if your surface and your electric field is parallel with each other, then your electric flux is 0. Para siya ni 0. So, si 1 is positive, si 2 is 0, but how about number 3? So, 3, okay, so let's look at number 3. 3 is going this way, nasa dire ka ni. Okay, so, this is the surface of 3. Okay, yan yung surface. Bear with me. So that is S3, or surface 3. The A is going outward. As you can see, it is facing here, pa left. My left. Yeah, so sa inyo ha, is, asa bang inyong left? Paano day? Okay. So, there is going here, or pa-outward ng iyahang A. So that is A. But its E is actually going inside the surface. Therefore, paano siya? Ano? Pa-penetrate siya. Mo-penetrate siya kay E. Kay surface. Okay, so your E is going inside the surface. So, as you can see here, they are baliktad. No, baliktad si A o si E. And making that theta 180. Okay, and cosine 180 is -1. -1 multiplied by your electric field and your area, so your electric flux is also negative. So, pag naa kay closed surface, if i-add nimo ang positive, di ba? Daghan man, kani nga part diri will be positives. Kanina part diri kani, will be zeros kay wala man ni penetrate sa ilaha ang atoang electric field. But this part here, kanina mga surfaces diri will have a negative flux. Therefore, combining all those surfaces and combining all their fluxes, we have same number of positive fluxes and same negative. Positive plus negative will cancel each other out. That will be 0. Plus zeros pagid sa mga surfaces nga naa sa middle na part. Therefore, your closed surface will have a flux of 0. Always. Any shape, ma'am? Any shape. So, pwede siya yung pwede siya sphere, pwede siya cube, okay, pwede siya pyramid, anything. As long as it is a closed surface. Okay? So, that is because their net flux is 0. Kung pila ang nisulod na net electric field sa ilahang na lines, kung pila tong nisulod ni electric field lines, maopoy ni Gauss. Therefore, 0 ang ilahang net flux. Okay, so net flux is proportional to the number of lines leaving the surface. So the net number means the number of leaving the lines leaving the surface minus the lines entering the surface. So if you have 10 lines leaving the surface and you have 10 lines entering the surface, so you will have a net flux of 0. And that is what happened with closed surfaces. Same ang numbers na nisulod sa ilaha o ang nigawas. Therefore, wala sila net flux. Okay? So, therefore, if more lines are leaving than entering, what do I mean by that? Mas daghan ang ni leave kaysa sa ni enter, then that is positive. But if daghan ang lines na ni enter kaysa ni gawas, then that flux is negative. Ano siya? Okay? So for example, we have here the disk. So electric flux through the disk. A disk has a radius of 0.10 meters that is oriented with its normal unit vector with an angle of 30 degrees with respect to a uniform electric field with a magnitude of 2.0 times 10 raised to 3 Newton per Coulomb. Okay. So here, ninyo siya diri with its normal unit vector. That is actually A. No, kanang normal vector. So ninyo siya diri, ihang normal vector daw is 30 degrees ang angle from the electric field. So that means kanang 30 degrees mauna na siya si theta nimo. Okay? So we are going to use the flux formula. So that will be E A cosine theta, where your E is this Newton per Coulomb. So 2.0 times 10 raised to 3 Newton per Coulomb multiplied by your A, kasi mo nimong A. Your A is solve pa nimo siya. Nga naman, ma'am. Because this is a disk. And ang gihatag sa imuha is just the radius of your disk. In this time, dapat kabalo ka unsay mga formula sa mga basic shapes. Okay, so mga basic shapes. Like rectangle, square, pyramid, or pyramid is a closed surface, so okay ra. Triangle, rectangle, square, circle, disc, and na siya. Okay, now the disc is circle, diba? Okay, so it has an area of pi r squared. Okay, so para makita ninyo, so pi r squared. No? Ang gihatag niya diri sa ato is just the radius. So therefore, in getting the A, we need to solve it first by pi r, which is 0.10 squared. That is 10, ha? Okay, so para makuha nimo si A, then mo na dayon na siya imong imbutang diri. Then your cosine theta, where your theta is 30 degrees. So therefore, ingani siya pag solve. Okay, so as you can see here, EA cosine theta. So vector E, vector A, cosine theta. 2.0 times 10 raised to 3 Newton per Coulomb. Then your A, which is the pi r squared, the area for a disk, circle. Then we have cosine 30, which is the angle between your E and your A, or your electric field and your A. So that, imo na siyang solve, that will be 54.41 Newton meter squared over Coulomb. So that is the unit of our flux, which is Newton meter squared per Coulomb. Okay, so that is our electric flux through the disk. Now letter B, what is the flux that through the disk if it is turned so that its normal is perpendicular to E? Niyan siya diri, ang normal niya is perpendicular or forms 90 degrees with E. And we know that if your A forms perpendicularly to E, or nag-form siya 90 degrees kay E, it means si E o si surface kay parallel. Pag parallel si S o si E, it means your flux is 0. So letter B,
if imuha daw i-turn, if i-turn daw nimo si A, because our A is nakaslant pa ni siya. Diba ba? Slant. Oh, slant. Karon daw, i-turn daw nimo na si A daw is perpendicular kay E. So, if perpendicular si E o si A, then your S and your E is parallel. Your surface and your electric field is parallel. Pag parallel si surface o si E, walay ni penetrate na lines kay surface. And kung walay ni penetrate, walay flux. Okay, so that's why letter B is letter B is 0. Flux is 0. Now, letter C, what is the flux through the disk if it is normal? If it's normal, is parallel to E. So, si normal na po daw ang parallel sa E. So, if we are to draw that, na dali as si surface, that your surface, then your A, and nga siya na imong E is parallel to that. So that will be EA, or flux is equal to EA cosine. Parallel man sila si E og si A, therefore si E og si surface is perpendicular. So it means dako ang iyahang flux, which is the maximum flux na iyahang makuha. Okay, so that is EA cosine theta, where theta is 0, as you can see here. Parallel sila duha. So that will be this one. No, so cosine 0 is 1. So, wala na ako siya gibutang dali. So, EA na lang. Okay? Pwede mong pagbutangan ninyo, pero pwede mong pagbutangan ninyo cosine. Cosine 0. But cosine 0 lagi is 1. So, that is just like 1. Multiplying by 1. So, pwede rin nawala. Okay, so, delete, 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 delete. Okay. So, your E is your 2.0 times 10 raised to negative, to positive 3, and your area is still the pi r squared, which is pi 0. Multiplied by 0.10 squared. So, equating that, we have 62.83 Newton meter squared per coulomb squared. Square. No, wala na coulomb per coulomb. Okay. So, kani siya, that is the maximum flux that the disk can have, or the disk can have ani na electric field, kaning 2.0 times 10 raised to 3 na electric field. So, mo na siyang maximum niya. Okay? So, as you can see here, mas dako man ni siya kaysa tong isa nga 30 degrees, 54. Yes. So, that is why ningon ko na pag parallel ang atong E o atong A, they have the maximum electric flux that you can get. Okay? So here we have a cube, and a cube is an open surface. I mean, no, it is a closed surface, sorry. It is a closed surface because we have 6 faces. No? So, unong ka faces na sila, top, bottom, left, right, and forward, backward. So, we have 6 faces, and they are enclosing the space around inside them. So, therefore, it is a closed surface. Now, if you are to find the electric flux of any closed surface, your flux is always 0. If nakapaminaw mo sa akong klase, na-explain na ko ni nga nung 0 si Q. Isa-isa na ko siya o isa-isa na ko og solve ang phases. But I won't do that here. I won't do that here kaya mataas ang video. But yes, mora to yung i-remember, basta closed surface, yeah, like a cube, pyramid, 3D nga oval. So may tawag sa 3D nga oval. Let's search. 3D oval. What is it? What's the meaning? No. Name there. Huh? Ovoid?
Ovoid. Ovoid daw. Okay, you learn new things every day. Okay. So, yes, something like, parang katong sa ato ang example ganito. Avoid daw siya. Anyway, so yeah, you just have to remember that if it is a closed surface, then the electric flux is zero. Yeah, that's all. Now, how about this one? We have a sphere. Okay. Now, as I have said before, any closed surface, if naay mo penetrate sa an electric field, then the flux is zero. But what if your charge or your electric field is inside your surface, just like here? Your surface houses a charge. Okay, so it houses a charge. So what will happen to its electric charge? Ma-zero pa ba siya? Closed surface ang isa ka sphere. Will it stay zero or not? Actually, the answer here is it will not stay zero. Nga naman, because of the presence of the charge inside, that means ang electric charge nimo will now, electric field nimo will now affect the electric flux flowing through your surface. Okay? So, ngano na zero man tong mga closed surface di ay, wala mo gud sila charge inside. Okay? Nag-penetrate lang ang electric field sa ilaha. So, it means the charge is actually outside your surface. Na siya sa gawas, and then nag-penetrate lang iyang electric field passing through that closed surface. So, just like here, ang imong charge diri is naa diri probably naa diri. Then pass through lang iyang electric field padulong sa imong surface. Something like that. But here in our sphere, your charge is already inside your surface. Okay, so with that, actually we will use the Gauss law. Gauss law is the total electric flux through any closed surface that is proportional to the total net electric charge inside the surface. So basically, Gauss law is an electric flux inside the closed surface pag naa sila'y charge. Okay? So you'll use Gauss law to get the electric flux of a closed surface. Okay? So, as you know, that sphere is a non-uniform field, or yeah, non-uniform field, non-uniform area, surface area. Lahi-lahi sila og direction silang A. So you can see here, okay, So, this one, may padulong siya dira kani, diri ra okay. Yeah, let's draw lines. So the red lines here represents the area or the normal vector. So asa nag-face ang imong surface, it's always there. And you can see na lahi sila og direction. And if your charge is inside that sphere or that closed surface, your electric field, as you can see here, the electric field, di ba na if na-remember ninyo dito sa ato ang electric field sa positive charge, but because this is a positive charge, it is radially outward. Okay? Radially outward ang electric field sa imuhang positive. And if it is negative, it is radially inward. So meaning say radially inward and radially outward. So it means it is in every direction. Radially. No, just like a sun ray. Sun ray, bisan asa siya. Yes. That is the only picture I can that you envision. No, so nasha. So if this is your A, the red one is your A. So it means because of this charge, your E will also be parallel to your A at any point.
And we know before in the electric flux, if your E and A are parallel, then your if they are parallel or the same direction, they are, let's say, positive. But if sa tawag ana, they forms 180 or magsugat sila, sugat ba ang tawag? Yeah, sugat. Oh, magsugat sila, magsugat. Check, ano, magsugat sila, then it becomes negative. So in here, and then remember po ninyo to akong giingon na net flux, if daghan ang mugawas na lines kaysa sa musulod, then it becomes positive. If daghan ang musulod kaysa mugawas na mga field lines, then it becomes negative. The thing here is, kaning diri as imuhang Gaussian surface, because this is what we call Gaussian surfaces, kanang mga closed surface nga na charge inside. That is a Gaussian surface. Okay? So, kani siyang Gaussian sphere nato. Kung positive ang imuhang charge, daghay lines or daghay electric field lines na mogawas sa imuhang surface. But walay mosulod. Nga naman, because dili man ni siya negative. Because positive is always have a radially outward na electric field. So if you have 0 lines going in, but you have more lines, n lines of going out, therefore, your flux is positive. That is because your charge is positive. Now, how about negative? So, negative baya is baliktad. So, it is going inward. So, since it is negative, daghan ang number na musulod. But ang mugawas, siya na pod ang wala. Based ato ang concept sa net flux, the more lines that is entering than leaving, that is negative flux. Therefore, the electric flux inside a Gaussian surface will solely depend on the charge inside. So, pag positive ang imuhang charge inside the Gaussian surface, then your electric flux is positive. If negative, it is also negative nga electric flux. Ing ana ra ang iyahang point. Okay? Now, you must be wondering, Ma'am, gamiton pa nato tong formula sa atong electric flux? No. Because katong formula sa atong electric flux has area. Okay? Na siya area. But here in Gauss law, walay labot si area. Okay? Wala siya labot. Natay derivation for that. If you have listened in my class, you would find or you will learn about this. Kani siya. Huh? The derivation for this. Kani. So, basically, na-cancel nato si A or ang area, leaving this formula behind. That is Q over epsilon naught, where your epsilon naught is 8.854 times 10 raised to negative 12. C over Newton meter squared. Okay. Tama ba? Okay. So yes, that is the derivation of the Gauss law. So therefore, kanina gid ang atong Gauss law. So remember that you can only use this formula if naay charge sa sulod sa isa ka closed surface. Just the sphere, ma'am? No. Any closed surface. So pwede siya cube, pwede siya pyramid, pwede siya katong ovoid, then pwede po siya sphere, or any non-uniform na shapes. Okay? So, just like here. This is a Gaussian surface. It has no definite shape. Okay, so for example, we have here a charge. This is a positive charge because it is radially outward ang iyahang direction. Radially outward. So how can we solve for its electric flux? Okay, so we have here three surfaces. CS1, which is a sphere, CS2, which is this irregular shape, then CS3, more irregular than S2. Okay, so natay tulo ka surface. Now, what is the flux of these three surfaces if naa siya charge sa sulod? Na sila charge. Okay? So remember that electric flux will only depend on your Q or your charge. And epsilon naught is a constant. Constant na siya. So, your electric flux will only depend on your charge. Whether naa kay flux or wala, positive or negative ang imong flux, it will solely depend on your charge. Not on the surface area, not on the shape of the surface, not how big the surface is. So it is about the presence of a charge. If naa kay charge diraa, then your Gaussian surface has flux. If positive ang imuhang charge sa sulod sa imong surface, then your electric flux is positive. If negative ang imong charge, negative pod imong flux. So solely si charge ra gid ang imong tan-awon when it comes to Gauss law. Okay? So here in this situation, S1, S2, and S3 will have the same electric flux. And they're all positive. Kung usang electric flux ni S1, maupod ang S2, maupod ang S3. Nga naman ma'am, because they have the same number of lines going out the surface, their surface. Okay? So sila tanan or sila tulo, same og flux. Okay, I hope that's clear. But what if in ani? What if your charge is outside your surface? No? So, kung pila ang lines, di ba? Kung pila ang lines na nisulod, kung pila ang lines na nigawas minus lines na nisulod, that is your net flux. So, let's count here kung pila ni enter. So, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 lines going in. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 lines going out. So 5 minus 5, this electric flux is 0. The net flux is 0. So that is why katong ganina sa atong electric flux sa cube, sa ovoid, or masin sa sphere, if wala sila charge inside it, wala sila charge sa sulod sa ilang surface, then their flux is 0. But if naanay ilaha, na sila tawag na to, na sila charge inside it, then gamito nato ang formula sa Gauss law. Okay? So Gauss law also follow the superposition principle. So it means if daghan kay charge naa sa sulod sa imong surface, imuha ra na silang i-add tanan as long as they are inside the surface. So let's say we have 1, 2, 3, 4 charges. So pagkuha ana sa ilahang electric flux, so you just have to add them all. Q1 plus Q2 plus Q3 plus Q4 over epsilon naught. Nga na ba? Okay. And be wary of their signs. So let's say here that Q4 is negative, therefore Q1 plus Q1 plus Q2 plus Q4 minus Q3 minus Q4 because Q4 is negative. So magmatter ang iyahang sign. Dere iyahang charge. For example, we have here three surfaces. We have S. Okay, S. So let's say this is S1, S2, S3. The S only have one charge inside it, which is CQ1. Therefore, to get um, the electric flux of S or S1, that will just be Q1 over epsilon naught. Siya naman isa. Now, how about S2? S2 has two charges, si Q2 o si Q3. Therefore, to get the electric flux here in S2, you just have to add Q2 and Q3 over epsilon naught. Yan yun siya. How about S3? S3 has no charge inside it. Therefore, its electric flux is 0. How about si Q4, ma'am? Si Q4 nasa gawas. Now, if nasa gawas ang imong charge, wala siya labot. Okay? So, pwede ra siya, maka-affect ra siya sa ato ang surface if that charge or si Q4, ibutang nimo siya dere, or i-add nimo siya dere, add nimo siya sa sulod. That is the only time na pwede niya ma-affect ang electric flux sa isa ka surface. Pero kung nasa sa gawa sa mga surfaces, wala siya labot. Okay? So, same with the overlapping surfaces. So, let's say we have overlapping surfaces. We have this. No, mali. Color. Okay? Okay. So, let's say that what is the electric flux diri ang side? Okay? So, for example, we will put some positive. No. Wait lang, huh? We have Q1. We have Q2. Let's say this is positive, then this is negative. We have Q3, which is a negative. We have Q4, which is positive, negative. We have Q5 here. We overlap. Excuse me. Okay. Bear with me as I draw. Okay. So we have here Q7, which is a positive. Q7, Q8, so a negative. Okay, so ingana eh. Let's say we have 8 charges inside these surfaces. So na sila ingana, 8 kabo. Now tell me, how will you solve? So how will you solve for the green surface? Let's say that the green surface is S2, the red surface is S1, and the blue surface is S3. Okay, so when we are solving for S2, so that is the electric flux, i-add mo tanan na charge na sakop ni S2. So that means adding Q3 plus Q4 plus Q7, then Q8. So, kung naa sila mga magnitude, ana, muna siya imong butang. Nganong sila raman upat? Kay sila raman ang covered sa surface ni S2. So, dili nimo i-appeal si Q1, si Q2 because as far as sa boundary ni S2, wala sila i-appeal. Also, si Q6 o si Q5. Beyond na sila sa surface ni S2. Therefore, even though nag-overlap si S3 o si S2 diri kay Q3 and Q4, okay ra. Appeal gihapon si Q3 and Q4 kay S2 because of the boundary of S2. Nara siya diri. Okay? So, apil ang mga charges nga bisan nag-overlap na sila. Okay? So, that will be Q3 plus Q4 plus Q7 plus Q8 over your epsilon naught. Ana siya pag-solve. Okay? You just have to do that. Now, let's go back to the sphere. Sphere has a charge of 3 microcoulomb. So, 3 microcoulomb, so that will be that will be flux is equal to Q over epsilon naught, where your Q is 3 microcoulomb, while your epsilon naught is 8.854 times 10 raised to negative 12. That is negative 12. Okay, so if you are to solve that, your answer is actually 338,829 Newton meter squared over Coulomb. Ayan siya. No? So remember that the epsilon naught is a constant. Constant na siya. Okay? So therefore, your flux or your in Gauss law, if naka-charge inside this closed surface, your electric flux will only depend on your charge. So your flux here is positive 338,829. That is because your charge is also positive. Ano siya. Okay, so now let's have these situations. Letter A. Okay, so nakay spherical Gaussian surface is a sphere that surrounds a point charge Q. So describe, that is a positive Q. Describe what happens to the total flux if the surface, through the surface, if, maunsa man ang imuhang electric flux, if ang charge nimo is a triple. Okay, so remember that charge always affects the electric flux inside a Gaussian surface. So, if, diba remember ninyo ang ato ang formula, that is Q over epsilon naught. So, pag mo times 3 ang imuhang charge, that will also affect your flux. So, what will happen to your charge will happen to your flux because they are directly proportional. If your charge is tripled, then your flux will also be tripled. How about if the radius of the sphere is doubled? Letter B is wala siya effect. There will be no effect because it talks about radius and wala man tay surface area or wala man tay A diriya sa ato ang formula kay Gaussian surface or kay Gaussian law. So therefore, wala siya labot if mo dako, if mo gamay imuhang surface. Your flux will remain the same. Now, how about if from sphere, ma-change siya into cube? Still the same, it will have no effect sa imuhang electric flux. Dili siya maka-affect. Your electric flux will remain the same as if as is na kanang pareho siya sa imuhang sphere. So kung si mo flux atong sphere siya, pag i-change nimo siya into cube, same na gihapon. Again, same explanation, wala tay A. Ato ang formula. Therefore, walay maka-affect. Changing the surface will not affect your electric flux inside the Gaussian surface. Now, what will happen if your charge is moved to another location pero inside the gihapon sa surface? Letter D is nothing will happen. Okay? As long as the charge is inside the surface, then your electric flux will remain the same. Unless imuha siyang i-move gawas sa surface. Then your surface or your electric flux becomes 0. Pero if you just move it to another location pero naaragyapan siya inside, then it will remain the same.
Okay, so I hope that's clear to you. If you have questions about electric flux and Gauss law, don't forget to you can message me. No. So that will be all for today. Thank you everyone for listening to my Gauss law and electric flux. Bye.